Sweets gang. 662 compound track. They say we acting brand new now.
Welcome back, Best Uni Crew. It's your girl. So, I'm coming on to show y'all what I have been learning with embroidery. I am not a professional yet, but I have learned a little something, so baby, don't play with me, honey. And I just wanted to come on and show y'all just a little bit. Now, I know I should do a practice run, but what fun is that? But you should practice. I done practiced enough to me. And sometimes you just want to just see, you know? So if you're willing to sacrifice a couple of little things that you don't need, that'll be good. So I have a white hoodie that I got from City Trend. I think I paid like no more than like $11.99 for it, and I bought it a while back. So I'm gonna put my design on the back of this hoodie, and it says "Bless." Now I want to put it to where it can be seen as well. So that's see, can I figure out where where to mark it. Don't have a lot of table space in here. So my hoodie probably fall somewhere up in there. 100% polyester material for hoodie, and it's a zip-up hoodie. I wish it was the other kind, but it's not. This is a zip-up hoodie. Probably would be good. I just learned that I'm supposed to use this side of the hoodie because they have grids that teaches you. I think I do. So you got two grids. I don't know what the purple one's for. I think because it's a smaller grid. And this one's a bigger grid. So it got these little slats. And you just put those onto that thing there. Okay. Supposed to kind of help you, I guess, line up your design. Right there. I try to remember that. I just put a little dot, but hopefully my embroidery will cover that up. Anywho, I'm gonna turn this over on this side here. And spray my stabilizer, and I'm gonna spray it with this adhesive made for sewing. Just like a temporary stick. Okay. And I notice I do got it to where my dot is at. Then I have the 5x12 hoop. And you got to make sure these circle things are going down this way, because you're going to have to hook it onto a nail that's connected to the machine. So you got to make sure anytime you putting it down to make sure you put it the opposite way where your design is going to be facing. Mine is going to be going upwards because I'm about to turn my jacket a certain type of way after I hoop it, but I still need this to be able to go on this side. So I know I need to hoop it and turn my jacket a certain kind of way because of how I designed it and how I turned my design. Hope I'm making sense, y'all. So I'm going to just make sure I lay the cutaway on top of this one. Make sure it's in there, inside the hoop. And I'm going to make sure I line it up as good as possible. I'm going to put this back down and I'm going to turn it, make sure this little notches are facing you. inside the hoop. You gotta make sure it's loosened too, cause child. So you get to unscrew the hoop to make sure it's loose enough for your other hoop to fit inside. So we got a hoop. I'm trying to tighten the thing back up on it. It looks smooth, but like I said, you might want to iron yours. I don't feel like it. I know I could, but I don't want to. Just slide this over underneath. Keep sliding it. Keep sliding it. You gotta make sure ain't nothing underneath it. Like, you gotta make sure none of this material go underneath it. You just want the top. You don't want the bottom to be connected. Move all the excess material from around it, your hoodie, your strings. Try to get everything away from around it. Because if it get caught under there, they'll stitch it together. You want everything else to hang off the machine. Or try to find something to hold it up for you. And then you're right there on the first two, because you're going to have to do 3 sections. So the first 2 notches is what you're going to hook up first. Put the thing down. And then it'll clamp on there. So the first 2, because you're going to do 3 designs, because it's going to split design. So you got to put it on the first 2 notches. Then when you get ready to cut the second one, you let the first one hang off, and then you connect the second one and the first one and the third. Then the third and the fourth. I'll try to explain it as I go. Okay? So you want to make sure it's secure and ain't nothing underneath it. Make sure all your material away from under it. Ain't nothing gonna get sewn or caught under there. Right? And then I'm gonna get some wet stabilizer. And it looks like this. And it's like smooth on one side and bunchy on the other. It looks like some plastic, but they call it wet stabilizer because if you wet it, it's supposed to disappear. And sometimes you want to do it before you do this, but I be forgetting. A lot of people have magnets to hold stuff down too, I noticed. But I'm still learning. And yeah. So and you just make sure it's there. Okay, so you got to remember what you're going to stitch first. So mine is already split in 3. Sometimes it'll put an extra over there. Don't worry about that. We'll try to go with the first one you see. Okay. Click the file, the very first one. Then the next one will be this one. They tell you to load hoop 2. This will be hoop 3. I'll show y'all that in a minute. So go to set. So it's going to give you a preview of where it's at. Right here where you say end, edit end. Right here you want to push this here for the trace out where it's going to cut. That you cut it. So right here you push this little arrow thing again, and it's going to trace the area and let you know exactly where it's going to stitch it. Okay, so after it does that, you say okay, you say end, you say okay, and you say end embroidery. Okay, so after you end embroidery, you'll go in and you'll just push the green button. Now some people mess with the tension. The tension will be right here. I'm using a Brothers PE 800. I'm still learning all that, so I ain't gonna be pushing no buttons right now. But my tension is on 4. I used to put it on 2.4, and I don't know why for real, but that's what I used to put it on. But this was already on the machine, so I'm gonna leave it like this. So I'm gonna just push OK, and then I'm going to push the green button. We'll make sure I hold the sovereign ready to get the first stitch. And after that, you just let it do its thing. So I'm gonna let it stitch out, and I'll come back and show you the finished product. Okay, so now that stitching is finished, I'm gonna exit all the way back out. It's gonna cancel out. So then I'm gonna go to my thing and I'm gonna hit the next one, which is gonna be this one. Okay. So I'm gonna do set and embroidery and all that in just a sec. But first I have to move the hoop. So now it's gonna go to the second area. So you gotta unhook the hoop. You see it was in the first two, which is 1 and 2. I'm gonna leave 1 hanging off and I'm gonna push 2 in the front where the 1 was, and then the 3rd and the 2 gonna go in there. So 1 will be the only one hanging off the hoop up front. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 little holes, but it was in 1 and 2 when I first had it on. Now it's in 2 and 3 hole. 1 is hanging off the thing. I hope I'm making sense. That's the best way I can explain it. So I'm gonna just push set. Put my stuff back like it was. Okay. I'm gonna let it trace to make sure it's gonna go in the area I need it to go in. Okay, it looks like it's gonna go in the area you need to go in. I hope so anyway. Let me trace one more time. I'm about blind here. Okay, we're gonna just see what it do. I'm saying okay. Okay. So we're gonna let that stitch and we're gonna come back. Bag out of it again. And say, okay, we're gonna exit out of it. We're gonna be ready to pull our next file up. But before we push the next file, we need to move the hoop again. Now it's gonna cut the 3rd section of the hoop. So you see the 1 was hanging off and I had it the first screw in 2 and 3. So now I need to push this 3 up to the first screw, and then that 4th hole gonna go on the 2nd screw. So that means that's the 3rd hoop. You have to do that every time to get each section. Okay? I hope I'm helping somebody, because I ain't saying I learned everything, but this is what I've learned so far. So I'm gonna just push the next thing, which is gonna be the end. And of course you want to trace, so we're gonna say set and embroidery. We're gonna trace the area, make sure it's gonna go where it's supposed to go. Everything looks like it's good. Okay? Roll this little hoodie up some more. I'm getting in the way and pushing none of my material. And then we'll push okay, and push embroidery. So we'll come back with the finished product. Okay, so now it's finished. We just push okay. Whew, it took a minute because of the patterns that I chose. So you gotta be careful with stuff like what you choose pattern stitch wise. I noticed that it'll take longer. And you know me, I just had to be a little different. So lift the back of your thing up, pull out. Everything will just slide straight out like that. Be careful, not to get nothing hooked. Slide. Okay. Slip this back some. I'll turn it off and let it rest. It's been going a couple of hours today. So, this is the finished product of the design. And then you have to have your little scissors to cut. But I think these little scissors are what it's made for, the little scissors with the hook on here. I think that's to cut your thread, but I like using these. I don't know what they're for, but I think they're pretty cool. So you just gotta go in and pull the thread. You should do it before you jump to another design, but sometimes if I'm using the same thread, I just wait and you just cut. Just the line stitching. Just crossing over everything. See? Like stuff like the little lines right here. just gonna cut those. Okay, so that's what I'm doing now. I'm just cutting the thread. Okay, so with this wet solvent, or however you say it, stabilizing stuff, we just pull it. Then you go inside the other parts and then just pull it. It'll come off. You gotta go in between each letter. And then, like I said, you're gonna wet it and it'll dissolve. So it's called wet stabilizer because you're gonna wet it. That's something I did learn. So I'm gonna get this off. Okay, so I did like a lot of different detail in the stitching. I thought was pretty cool. So I did hearts and like other little stuff on each one, just to see what a different stitch would look like. But the bottom ones I did the same, but I still got some wet solvent in there. So comment, let me know down below what you think about the stitching patterns I chose. So, in love with what it came out like. So the inside is the stabilizer. We have to cut that out there. So you got to make sure you be careful. You don't want to cut your material. So pull the stabilizer up. It is removable now, but you got to cut around it because this is cutaway. But they do have something called tearaway. So you just want to kind of cut where your stuff is lifting in. And try not to cut your coat or whatever you put it on. Push all that out the way. So it should just be cut away. Yeah, so that's what it's looking like. As long as you cut enough to get whatever, you can cut the excess thread that's in the inside of it. Let's see, how did I do? So this is with the hoodie down. I hope it's straight. I can't tell. I don't know if I did good or not. This is with the hoodie up. So make sure y'all comment and let me know how I did.